Hey, how you doing? Come on in, sit for a spell. We are going to dive into the fixed energy and get a better understanding of how to navigate this territory we are moving through. We're going to open up first with a collective take. And when we're looking at the fixed energies, we're looking at, of course, Scorpio, who is celebrating their solar return at this time, and Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo. So we're going to dive right into this, first looking at it from the perspective of how all of us, regardless of our sign placements, can adapt to the energy rolling out right now. Certainly, if you have a strong fixed sign placement, you are going to have more resonance, but this can impact all of us. We're all moving through these transits and the energies that are prevailing at this time. So it's very helpful for just knowing how to roll with the punches, you could say, because it is that kind of climate. There's some interesting dynamics going on. We do have Mars and Pluto at the forefront, Scorpio's rulers. There's a lot of action going down in regard to that we covered in the full moon download that comes into play. So if you haven't checked that out, you'll want to check that out. It will tell you how to understand what kind of pressurized environment we're dealing with here and how you can pluck a diamond out of the void despite the circumstances. Consider it a test of your mettle, a test of your character, and do know you have the ability to rise to this challenge. 1:44 on the clock. Yes, you can pull a rabbit out of the hat, magicians. You can bring through quite an unexpected manifestation at this time, actually, if you know how to apply the right amount of pressure in opposition to what's coming at you, okay? There is a way to work with applying pressure in the positive. It doesn't always have to be a negative force. So we'll look at that a little bit. We're also going to go into individual sign reads for Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo, just to give them individual messages. So we're going to open right up into it without further ado and get sort of an overarching theme of the energy we're moving through. We continue to be in that rebirth of Venus territory. We are preparing to break ground. Venus is still hanging out in the underworld with Hades at this time. There's still very much that Libran charge here. We had Venus move into Scorpio on November 6th, and there's quite a tense dynamic going on that is in play with Venus in Scorpio square Pluto in Aquarius, right? So yes, we're looking at where we feel held back in terms of our desire to move into that expansion, where we're desiring to get out of a place of constriction or where it feels like we don't have the freedom of expression. And certainly we're experiencing that in matters of the heart, but it can even come through in terms of just what we want to see in our quality of life. We might be more focused on the heaviness at this time and less on where the beauty is to be found. And yet it's through trying to spy the beauty in what can seem dismal that we can get a little bit of a clue about how to empower ourselves through this terrain. All right. So let's check it out. What is the overarching theme for us collectively? And certainly if you are a fixed sign, you will find a lot of resonance with this collective read we're opening with, but there's something for everybody here. Let's check it out. Okay, bottom of the deck energy. We got number 25, Cat's Claw. Purification. So see, there's something here that we are still in the process of integrating. We're integrating different aspects of our shadow. And those shadows can be reverberations of things that are held over from the past. They can be psychic imprints of lessons that we're still in the process of assimilating, digesting. It also is having the courage to face the unknown And any time when we're on the precipice of a brand new beginning, when we're just about to be ushered through that birthing canal to break through into a new life, and it very much is that big at this time. There is sort of a cinematic feel to what's rolling out right now. And of course, this is a process. We're on a quest here collectively. The hunt has already began. The hunt will continue to amplify, especially as we roll into Sagittarius season. In fact, there's going to be a lot going down once we enter Sagittarius season. I feel like right now is where we're really getting ourselves ready to set our sights, to sort of spot where our game is. What are we aiming for here? But first, we have to clear away some old lingering energies that are hanging over us. And these energies can have an effect where they cloak our energy, and they can even conceal our own intentions from us. This is when subconscious aspects of ourselves can have the upper hand. We do see this medicine here of Jaguar, and Jaguar medicine is not only about being fearless in the face of the unknown, just having the knowledge that you've faced the unknown before, you've been able to navigate that terrain. And so that alone should give you a little bit of confidence, not feeling so daunted, but being able to feel a little bit more daring as you start to ease your way through the dark into the break of a new day. But there also is the piece when it comes to Jaguar medicine where there is a need for impeccable integrity. It's a very strong medicine. And it does require that where we move forward, we're moving forward authentically in alignment with the truth of who we are. And see, these are the last vestiges we have of really peeling away the veneer, seeing beneath the surface, and really getting to heart of who we truly are, what we truly desire, where we're being called to go now. And this is our chariot forward here. Cat's claw is a particular plant ally that you can work with for purification. It has spiritual cleansing applications. So that may be something, those of you who like to work with the plant medicines, those of you who are alchemists and you're drawn to work with more of that kind of rootsy, folk medicine application of alchemy, you might want to bring in a little bit of cat's claw, work with that. You can plant it as well around the borders of your home. It can have a warding effect. There's many different applications. And always, I say, tune into the plant yourself, or like I've suggested before, you can even meditate, get a little smoke cleansing going and invoke the plant ally, the spirit guardian of cat's claw to come in and work with you. And it can teach you how you can work with its medicine, even if you don't have access to the plant itself. It's really potent, okay? So this is the time when we do want to follow through with that level of spiritual work where we're doing a lot of purification. Purification of our vision, purification of our intentions, purification of just old BS, stuff that doesn't serve us anymore. In some cases, it's really letting major things go in our lives. I mean, Scorpio does teach us how to move through the initiatory process. And when we're looking at that chariot energy, it does invoke the spirit of Cancer. And we know that Jupiter is in the house Cancer right now, and that's where it's exalted. That is the rebirth of Venus energy. And it's also what's going to bring a lot of blessings to all of us on the other side of this process. But there's always the need first, before we get to the hope and the fulfillment, the promise of the star, that we learn how to navigate through that valley of the shadow of death. And so that's what this is about. It's an interesting territory to be moving through. And it is indeed coming in with the energies of Pluto and Mars. So Scorpio really feeling this. Also Aries absolutely impacted here. And of course Aquarius, because Aquarius is hosting this energy of Pluto for the long haul. Aquarius is really starting to understand what it's like to navigate this territory, what it means to rise to the call, to lead the charge into expansion for the collective energy. I mean, heavy is the head. It's quite a position of responsibility to lead the way, but if anybody can do it, it's Aquarius, because Aquarius definitely can think outside the box. Aquarius is a sign that can have quite a revolutionary type of spirit. So I have every faith in you that you can lead the charge here, Aquarius, but it's very dynamic. All right, so you might want to look at where you have your Mars placements, your Pluto placements in your chart. Also check out what's going on in your first house, your 11th house, your 8th house, because this is really going to show you where you're going to bump up against these themes and where you may want to do a little bit of purification work, and also have a look at what's going on in the root cellar there that you might still need to integrate. And 10:44 on the clock with that. Yes, this will be very helpful for getting that wheel of fortune turning in the right way, activating the rune Rido, the journey, and get some momentum that can carry us forward into Sagittarius season, when we absolutely will be setting our sights on something and the hunt continues, okay? We are just waiting. We're waiting to be washed up on that shore, transformed, and open up that road like the great bard Taliesin. It's the activation of the Merlin frequency, and we're all experiencing this, which also includes an amplitude of your gifts. And for some people, those things are coming on board for the first time. They have been closed off to this before, but because of the rise in the collective consciousness, it's starting to crack people open. They're starting to see through the reality, to understand that there's a lot more surreality at the wheel here. And that is what's creating a lot of awakening sort of experiences. It can be destabilizing though too, as people are coming to, you could say, all right? It's a bit like waking up after being in anesthesia. You know, you can feel a little sick at first. You can feel a little out of sorts. You can feel a bit like you're in that liminal space, that in-between space, and you don't really know how to get grounded back out into your body again. So be patient with yourself and understand that this is like the last little space of time to really be able to honor the times when you do need to rest a little bit more, when you do need to pull your energy back, when you do need to have some space to just get really internal, to not have to express your energy externally. More of that will come when we arrive in the season of the Archer. But right now, it's sort of figuring out your territory that you're moving through here, and what you need to bring forward, what you need to pull up out of that time in the darkness to externalize, that will empower you in the hunt. You know what I'm saying? So let's get some further details here for this fixed sign energy, the energy of Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo. And I'm bringing them in that order so you can see sort of the mirror of the descendant signs. And so you have to look at what your ascendant sign is, and that lets you know what your descendant sign is. So you have to look at, let's say, your rising. It's not about your sun sign, it's about your rising sign. If you're a Leo rising, that makes you an Aquarius descendant, and vice versa. Aquarius rising is Leo descendant, Taurus rising is Scorpio descendant, vice versa. Scorpio rising is Taurus descendant. You always want to look at your descendant sign. And in fact, right now, the descendant sign is extremely important as far as alchemizing this holdover energy, these psychic imprints that need to be integrated so you can really return to your own soul's essence and activate the blueprint of how your destiny is meant to be activated here, how it's meant to be initiated. That's important. There's a need to really disentangle the energy from others to get back to your own personal source of empowerment here. And we're, of course, with Venusian territory, we're dealing with a lot of relational matters, but not just any relational matters, sort of the shadow side of that, the aspect we don't normally look at. Yes, you see, we got two cards that came out here. We got skull cap, stillness. You see something is really being balanced out here. Here's a little bit of a nod to that Libra new moon that came in right on the cusp of Scorpio season. Libra energy is still really playing out through Scorpio season, in particular, third decanate Libra energy. We got that justice signature here coming in. Also speaking of alignment, and there, of course, we have Scorpio. And here we are. We're dealing with that energy of Pluto coming in with Saturn, okay? So we've already learned with Saturn having been in the territory of Pisces that this is really about understanding that we have to embrace a new kind of flow. We can't be so hard and fast in our positions. We have to be able to move in this terrain in a way that has us really understanding, and it keeps coming through like this in the I Ching. It reminds me of hexagram 56, the wanderer. And it's about being in a strange land where you don't know the customs. You don't really know the territory you're moving through. And so naturally, if you're moving through territory like that, where it's unknown and you don't have any idea what you're going to encounter, you can't just barrel your way through there. You also can't force your will on the circumstances. You have to be very accommodating, especially if you hope to find accommodation. So this is really about looking at that give and take. Now we see that there are masks that are falling away here. There's cracks in the facade. And I'm also seeing this here as one of the keys for that. It's really giving the impression of activating the pineal gland and, you know, putting the energy here as your internal GPS system, Ajna, third eye chakra, stimulating this with meditation. If you're feeling confused about your coordinates, you don't know how to get where you need to go, enter stillness, enter that void. That's a different kind of void, right? Where you can just drop in no matter where you are. Close your eyes, gently turn your eyes inward and upward toward your third eye here, and get a little directive. It's amazing what happens when you nourish this center. This is the way through, though. And there's also growth that occurs here that is really balancing for both hemispheres of the brain. And if you can balance out both hemispheres of your brain, you can absolutely activate a potential that maybe you haven't really been capitalizing on up to this point. You've been operating at a lower power level because you haven't been bringing the full consciousness on board. So this is a clue here, but this is where false faces are really experiencing a crack in the facade. You're starting to see things as they really are, but there's also like liberation coming through here. I mean, we have that indicative with Pluto in Aquarius. So there's something powerful happening here. Even when we feel like, yeah, but nothing's really moving forward. I don't feel like anything's happening. I have all these grand designs, all these plans, but see, that's what needs to fall away. It could be that the grand design has flaws. There's certain things that need to be seen, that need to be acknowledged, that need to be recognized. There's needs to reinvent yourself, rethink the way forward, reintegrate. We also have to remember that we're in a place right now where we're dealing with a lot of retrograde energy, and we just had Uranus, as of today, go into Taurus, okay? So this is where the more we dig in our heels, the more we resist, the more we'll be held back. The more we can enter stillness and just sort of see how the energy is compelling us to move, the more we allow things to stir from beneath the surface and rise up into our conscious awareness without any resistance, the more we'll be able to enter this flow. And again, it's really feeding off that grand air trine that first was ushered in at the beginning of the third decanate of Libra on October 13th, and then merged with that new moon in Libra on the cusp of Scorpio season with the grand water trine. So we're really riding this energy as we're flowing into the future here. But right now the energy is very subterranean, right? We're working at the root level here. Soon it will be time to break ground, and then the energy will be more externalized, especially as we move into Sagittarius season and we get our first signs of new life. That is when we're going to start to see some of this level up, blessing energy coming through from Jupiter in Cancer, okay? So invite this energy in. Do give yourself an opportunity to dive into stillness. There's potency here. Stillness is a potent portal of transformation at this time. It's something that offers more growth than you realize. Where you're looking for answers, they're not going to be found in the busyness. They're found in the stillness. This is where you'll understand what actions you need to take to bring karmic cycles to completion so you can free yourself from the crossroads. But it really does require that activation of self-knowledge. This is not a time when you can just allow yourself to sleepwalk through this territory. You have to wake up. And when we're looking at waking up, it's really about waking up the dormant places within us that are hidden subconsciously. But that's also where all the treasure is. You know, you find the treasure by diving deep into the waters, right? That's where you find that sunken treasure. You find the diamonds by mining, you know, you find all the jewels by going deep down underground into the earth. That's where you find the gold too, okay? So this is what this is about. There's something very potent to pull through here, but it's found in the stillness, not through pushing harder, not through expending your energy before it's time, biding your time, moving smarter, getting a true understanding of the territory you're moving through, and learning how to be more accommodating, learning how to give a little, how to not push so hard, not dig in the heels. This is going to be the way forward, okay? And this is what will bring you balance. It's also what will balance out those old karmic cycles and bring you into alignment with the appropriate path that will get you where you want to go, line you up with that stargate and the activation of your North Node potential. Skullcap can be an excellent plant ally, especially if you're dealing with a lot of nervous system activation right now, or if you're having trouble resting. You can find skullcap in a lot of sleepy time teas. If you're going to take anything internally, please remember to check with your healthcare practitioner, because just because it's natural doesn't mean it's safe for everyone. There can be contraindications. There can be problems with different medications you're taking if you're already on a health protocol or you have a particular health condition. So I'm just here to share the information. You need to follow up with your medical care providers in terms of taking this stuff internally, but there's many different ways to work with the plants as we've shared before here. And see, this is the thing, you're really being set up to lead the charge with lion's mane coming in here with the number 18. And this is about leading the charge to your North Node, because we think of the number 18 and what do we think of? We think of the moon in tarot. We think of that initiatory gateway that does require us to move through the dark. That does require us to really face what can be an illusory sort of climate where a lot of things are hidden and yet still be guided by the light that is able to be found there, trusting that we will get to the other side, because we still have the sun hidden behind that moon in that card. It's also the North Node connection here. And see, we have the Libran scales hanging out right there. There's the vessels of Aquarius pouring out that waterway. that creates that constellation in the sky known as the river Eridanus that leads to that brightest star. But we know from that download the way that came in before, and I'll absolutely include a card for that here at 24:50 on the clock. That is where the brightest star is. It's in the south, and yet going south will still get you north. And that's what the explorers discovered back in ancient times, you know. They didn't know. They were in the southern hemisphere heading that way. They thought that they were heading north. Well, they discovered that actually heading south will get you north eventually, okay? So this also has that kind of spirit, right? You just got to go where you see the brightest light beaming in your life. Where do you see the light starting to filter in? And you may not know where it will ultimately take you, but if you see light building there, have that spirit of the first explorers, you know, to be willing to be daring enough to take a step in that direction and then just see how the energy morphs around you. This is helpful counsel for those who are really fixed in their charts. You know, if you have a lot of fixed sign placements, change is not easy for you. You bump up against these points of resistance often. So this can help you catch a tail of a star and find yourself on the rise, and you see that rainbow energy there. So there is hope on the other side of this. There's also star mates that will come into view. Okay, so there's a lot of energy here that does have momentum forward. But you may need to be the first out the gate. You know what I'm saying? You got to lead the charge in your own life. And that's what you're being called to do here. You're being called to move into a leadership position, coming in really strongly for Leo placements, also Aquarian placements. We got a nod to Libra hanging out here. Also, we got Mercury coming in with Uranus. So again, real emphasis coming in around Aquarius. But we also have the energy of Gemini and Virgo hanging out here. So we have to remember what kicked off this whole cycle that we're moving through that will ultimately lead to the Ring of Fire new moon eclipse that's going to be going down in the sign of Aquarius on the 17th of February 2026. And that was that new moon eclipse in Virgo that went down on the cusp of Libra season. All of this is one great tale, one great spinning of lore that collectively, despite what zodiac sign prevails our constitution, you could say, what elementals rule over us and their individual expression, we're all weaving this lore together because it is a collective tale that we're spinning here. Communication is really important. And also in the stillness, that's what you're going to find. Unusual communication that's outside the box, communication that comes in quite unexpectedly. It cracks the facade. It has you looking at things in a new way. It has you looking at yourself in a new way. It has you looking at others in a new way. It has you looking at the potential for growth in your life in a new way. It's a breakthrough moment, and it's actually really beautiful here, but you are meant to lead. So now is the time for you to really ask yourself, where am I being asked to take the lead in my life? Where do I need to get up and set things in motion and stop looking to others to show me the way? Okay? And that is a bit of a trust fall for many, to look in the mirror and recognize that you have leadership qualities, that you're being asked to rise up into that leadership position. And again, with Lion's Mane, if you are dealing with any kind of nervous system activation, Lion's Mane can be very helpful for dealing with that. Let me go ahead and do a cut of the deck here to see what we got. Horsetail. Patience, 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 coming in with the energy of Saturn and Venus. Okay, so we have Capricorn at the forefront there. We also have to give a nod to Pisces since they've really been hosting that energy. And hey, you know, the sea goat knows how to navigate this kind of territory. Certainly, Capricorn's very much salt earth, very stoic, kind of get the job done sort of sign. Cardinal signs tend to be that way. You know, they know what needs to be done. They don't sit around and think about it a lot. They just pull themselves up by the bootstraps and they get to it, and they do it with a sense of determination and steadfastness. That's the quality of the cardinal signs. And we absolutely have Mars at the forefront. Aries is a cardinal sign, okay? But so is Libra with the Venusian energy there. Okay, so this is what we're really looking at here, where we recognize, okay, I need to do the work by laying down the foundation properly so it's really strong and I can build from there. And maybe that's not the part of the storyline that's glamorous or exciting, or it might not seem like we're seeing the end result, or you could say the beauty that you get to when you finally see the dream manifest, right? And yet this is so needed to do this work. It's foundational for being able to see our field of dreams come into bloom in the first place. So yes, this is about being patient, okay? Coming in with the energy of 35 breaks down to 8. We need to have patience so we have the strength, so we can build the strength needed to overthrow the forces that used to inhibit us, override us, overwhelm us, or oppress us in the past, right? This is so important. But if we do, we reclaim a little bit of magic here with the unicorn that gets us moving forward in a very powerful way. Again, another symbol of the rune Rhino, the horse. Horse medicine is movement and power, all right? So when we're working with these qualities of movement and power, it is so important. 3144 on the clock, 444. That's a synchronicity coming in here. I mean, we need that help from the angels in the outfield, you know, to help us work with this. I don't know. I might pull out an archangel card here just to kind of cap this portion of the read off, just to give us a little bit of guidance about how we can work with some of that ethereal assistance to ground these castles in the sky, give them a proper foundation that we can really build upon here. But patience is essential. And that can be really frustrating for people, especially if you've been navigating a lot of challenges, or if your nervous system is taxed, if you are running low on fuel and you feel like, man, when is divine timing? All right. But I'll give you a clue about divine timing. A lot about spying divine timing is knowing how to slow down enough, enter into stillness enough, being observant enough, conscious enough, aware enough that you can spot the synchronicities. Because those synchronicities, those signs that you see in your day-to-day life, those signs that you see in the ordinary, that's something that is rather quite extraordinary, a little something extra that feels like, what's this about? I keep seeing this, or I keep running into this person, or I keep having this particular bird show up in my environment. You know, that song that you keep hearing on the radio, those little things, they seem rather ordinary things on the surface, but they're actually clues. They are the anima mundi coming through a physical manifestation. It is all of creation speaking to you and saying, hey, pay attention. I'm trying to tell you something. I'm trying to communicate something to you. And that's why you're being held back, because you do need to sync up with these clues so you can navigate your way forward in a very empowered way. So don't get too into the fixed quality where you're just like, no, this is the way it needs to be done, and I'm just going to barrel my way through. Because that's when you can be like a bull in a china shop, and especially with Uranus in Taurus. We've been through this before. We're revisiting themes from 2018 up until now. So look at this cycle. What have you been navigating? All right. This is when that stuff is going to come back around. Why? So you can lay the foundation properly this time. because something back there was missing. But now, if you can give yourself an opportunity through that stillness, through your patience, through your ability to observe, you can understand how you can lead the way forward in a new way that will lead to a much better result, all right? So patience here, patience. And this is coming through really strongly for Leo. There's also a lot coming on board from the celestial realms that can help us balance things out, a lot that's communicating from the ether. And I do think in terms of Aquarius, Aquarius is a very ethereal sign, even though it's fixed. And there's a lot of this energy that's prevailing right now. There's a lot of that origin story, the origin story that goes back from our birth from the stars. It's being activated as well. So it is quite a galactic sort of environment as well, which is interesting territory to move through, certainly when everything does feel like it's kind of coming up against a lot of gridlock. And what that is really is it's the boxes breaking down, right? That matrix, it's being dismantled and everything is in this state where it's sort of like morphine and it's mutable and it's taking on a new form and it's bumping up against what's been fixed, okay? So it's interesting moving through that when it's unfamiliar, you know? If you're not familiar with that, it can sort of be destabilizing at first. So there's almost like a need to sort of like get your sea legs too, right? That's why you need to like steady yourself, embrace stillness. And a lot of that can sort of disrupt the matrix template of you have to do more, be more, go, go, go. No, learn how to embrace a new kind of flow where you can, in how you do your work, in how you socialize, in how you put your energy out there. I've been working with that a bit myself. You know, I used to hold myself to a real static schedule. This is what I need to do. I need to read these signs at this time. And I've really started to just embrace a new way of working with the downloads because the downloads have demanded it. You know, there's no way to get around it. And the more I try to put it in a framework, the more it doesn't work. And that's what people are really going to find at this time. The more you try to fit something in a particular box, the more you're going to bump up against this sort of like pressurized front. And it's going to make things more complicated and more difficult than it needs to be. Now, on the other side here, yes, see, I talked about the origin story. We got that Empress energy brewing with Rosemary here. Yes, see, it is very much that territory of what's communicating to us deeply. Again, feed your solar essence at this time. What is your sun sign? That is what you really want to nourish right now. We spent quite a bit of time really nourishing the lunar essence. But see, what we're working with right now is bringing the lunar essence, your moon sign. Okay, so you want to see what your moon sign is. We're in a process right now where your moon sign is wanting to rise to the surface and be externalized through the expression of your solar energy. So look to your sun sign. This is what's really wanting you to have sort of the, how can I put this? Reality tunnel set as far as the outward expression of your lunar essence. It's the sun-moon synergy. And normally we look at sun-moon synergy in terms of how we connect with others. But this is how we can connect with those aspects of ourselves. And you can even relate that, you could say, to the hemispheres of your brain. You know, you got right brain, which is more like that creative brain space. And that would be more like your lunar essence. And then you got your left brain, which is more intellectual, you know, it's more analytical, and that's more your solar essence. So this is about kind of bridging that gap and finding the way through. It has a lot to do with, you know, facilitating this communication that's happening on deeper levels so it can be externalized and bring about the kind of manifestation that really sets your feet upon a strong road that helps you get where you want to go in your material reality, leading up to that stargate with that Aquarius ring of fire. And we do see there is a diamond here that we can pluck out of the void. And we also have a lot of assistance coming through from our guardians. Some of you are connecting with guides. Some of you are connecting with your ancestors. Some of you are really connecting with the magics, with the medicines, with the teachings and the spirituality of your ancestors. You're diving really deep in your roots. And this stuff is coming forward at this time to help us create a sense of depth and meaning, even as we move through what may appear a very dystopian kind of landscape, right? There is something very sacred that's happening here at the same time. And there's ancient memory awakening at this time as well. And it's all to bring us into that Empress energy, Taurus energy, Libra energy, the creative space where we can birth new beginnings and we can see that growth really break ground. And remember, the Empress is wanting to rise early, and we'll see the first signs of this stirring. Her belly swells. We already know this. The mother's belly is swelling. This is something that we will really recognize in Sagittarius season. We're going to start to see those first signs of birth coming on through. You may want to work with rosemary. Rosemary is excellent too for really clearing the air. It can clear out the lungs, and you can do steam inhalations with rosemary. Just boil up some water, put it in a nice big basin, tent your head with a towel, put some fresh rosemary in there, breathe deeply. That's a really wonderful way to enter into a meditative space as well. And the thing about rosemary is it has very protective quality to it. It has a spiritual cleansing aspect to it. But beyond that, it also creates a really safe space for you to come into your heart and to really connect with your heart. Maybe after a time where you really felt like you had to shut that space down. So it's so important. It also can clear a lot of congestion out of the lungs, especially when you're working with rosemary in that way, doing steam inhalations. It can break up a lot of ama. We call it ama in Ayurveda. It is that which is undigested thoughts, undigested emotions, and certainly experiences, as well as spiritual energies, and yes, even your food. Okay, so when we have improper assimilation or incomplete assimilation, mind, body, spirit assimilation, it can manifest physically in our lives, in the end result of what we see in our external reality, but also in our physical bodies. And it takes the form of congestion. The best way to look at ama from a physical standpoint is it manifests like mucus, okay? And when we're looking at working with rosemary and steam inhalations, it can really get rooted in the lungs, and the lungs are associated with grief, all right? So this is also important too, as we're integrating these last vestiges of our experiences of the old karmic cycles, that we allow ourselves this grace to hold some respectful space around our grief and the expression and the expulsion of that. And it's amazing when you do this clearing, how much prana, how much life force energy you can then take in. It's also giving Mother Mary vibes here, Virgin de Guadalupe vibes, okay? So those of you who come from backgrounds where Mary is a central figure might want to work with things as well, like candle vigils, and maybe making an asperging wand, you know, where you gather together bundles of rosemary, and you can even get holy water, and you can dip the bundles of rosemary in holy water, and you can, you know, asperge the corners of your rooms too, to like clear out the energy in your home. 44:19 on the clock that may even be able to help break up some heavy energy in the home that lets the light back in. All right. So 44:33 on the clock. We're going to dive in first to Scorpio's read. Okay, and we're going to open up here with the Ethereal Visions Tarot. We have on the bottom of the deck here the Three of Swords. So Scorpio, you are rising up out of a time of grief, heartache, separation, slowdowns. And let's see what you're coming into at this time during your season. And I just want to say to all the Sun native Scorpios out there, I wish you a lot of blessings in your next trip around the sun. I hope that it brings you to a much higher view on that wheel of fortune and an elevated experience that really is the end result of you having the courage to move through the territory you've been moving through. There's been some heavy Plutonian and Mars energy at the forefront, so Scorpios have become quite adept with navigating this terrain. So let's see what message wants to come through for Scorpio. Now, when we're looking at this energy, we really are looking at what is building leading up to that Scorpio new moon that is going to come in on the 20th of this month, okay? So let's see what the guidance is for Scorpio leading up to the time of their new moon on the 20th of November. Bottom of the deck, well, will you look at that? Two of Cups, okay. So I do see there's a certain awareness that has risen in your conscious in relation to your love relationships in the past. And there's something here that has allowed you to reclaim some sense of power, because I almost see like this wand imagery hinted at here. Also have a little bit of Leo energy at the forefront. Ooh, somebody's busting in. Ted just came in the room. One moment. All right. Okay, Scorpio, you might have somebody who's about to come knocking on your door. They may not take no for an answer. That was interesting. Two of Cups, okay? There is some heart connection here. Let's see what this is coming in for Scorpio. That's really feeding off the energy that came in on last night's download, where it was about a dog on a leash that feels a sense of loyalty to you, and may need to break away to find a way through to communicate to you. We got Three of Pentacles here in reverse, okay? It's sort of teeter-tottering though. It's kind of like this, you know? It's not all the way south. This may be just starting to come out of that position, or it could be something that's about to go south. This has something to do with a working arrangement. And on the bottom of the deck here, we have Five of Swords, okay? So I do feel there was some kind of betrayal in this situation you dealt with. This could have been related to a group dynamic. It could have been related to some outside element or third party that was involved in your situation that was like, this is a deal breaker, this won't work. I do not want to invest in this direction. I do feel like you stopped working with this particular individual, or you pulled your energy out of a group dynamic, a particular situation here. In some cases, it could even be a work situation, but with the Two of Cups showing up on the bottom of the deck to sort of open this up, I do feel like there's more a sense of some kind of romantic involvement, or at the very least, there's like a heart connection here. It was 48:44 on the clock, 12:44:8. Okay, so we do have that Piscean energy coming in there, Leo energy coming in as well. This is something that is a bit of a karmic cycle that you had to move through here. there was a blind spot you had to deal with. You might have even been dealing with a hidden enemy, a frenemy kind of energy, or somebody that you really thought was aligned with you, who was on your side, who was doing something that just wasn't right back there, you know? It's got a little bit of a betrayal energy to it. I have to say, Five of Swords, somebody did something. It was pretty shady. They were selfish in the way they moved, and that's the way it's coming through. This may be somebody who wants to come towards you, and they might want to try to work it out. And I think you do have strength, okay, to have a conversation, to hear this out. I also feel like you have strength to rise above it. Whether or not you choose to work with this or not, that remains to be seen, okay? Let's see about this, because it really is teeter-tottering. I feel like this advance could go one way or the other. You're either going to decide that, no, I made the right judgment back there. I don't want to open that door. I can't work with you anymore. This isn't going to be something that's going to carry me forward into my future. And I feel like you did reclaim some power here. So whatever this was back there, it's not going to be the same now. Or you may feel like, okay, I could be open. So let's see which way this is going to go, Scorpio. Which way is this going to go? I mean, I think somebody's wanting to work with you again. They're going to hedge their bets. They might be trying to work out right now, how can I come forward? Because I know I kind of got like egg on my face, you know. Scorpio knows I did something back there. And I don't know if they're going to be receptive to me advancing toward them. So I feel like they're trying to figure out, how can I advance? I mean, but if they advance the way Ted came in, you're just barging their way in. They might. They might. Maybe that's how they achieved what they wanted before. They kind of felt like, well, I'll just force my way, you know? I'll make you see it my way. I don't think that'll work this time. We got Eight of Pentacles here. It is upright. I mean, I don't know here, man. Yeah, see, it's like somebody's really figuring out, how can I really make this offer look like an offer that can't be refused? And the 8 plus the 3 does equal 11. Balance, justice. So I feel like somebody has maybe been doing a lot of work on themselves, okay? It does have that energy of soul smithing, you know. Somebody has been doing some work on themselves. And maybe they're just about at the point where they're ready to externalize something. It's interesting here too. You see the 3. You see the 3 hinted at here. And there's now these 2 pentacles behind them. So it could have been there were other people, other factors involved in this situation. And something has been balanced out with that. And so now somebody is looking to approach you, and they're really working on how they can present an offer to you that cannot be refused, because they really want to come out of that energy of the 5 of Pentacles, this sense of loss, this sense of separation. Interesting here. I mean, it is an energy that's coming out upright, I have to say. And we got a Knight of Pentacles here. Okay, could be coming from an earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. It's also desiring to open up a brand new chapter with you and maybe lay down roots with something, like something that can really grow, something you can invest in together. I mean, I think this person is willing to take their time. This could even be in relation to work as well. This could be finding a better job opportunity. But with the 2 of Cups on the bottom of the deck, I do pick up that there's more of some kind of emotional affinity here. And yet maybe that's how it's presented at first. Maybe that's how they're going to get their in, like, can we work together, you know? Maybe you're not receptive to be in a relationship with me at this time. Like, maybe you don't want to get into a romantic involvement with me at this time, or maybe you don't feel ready for us going back to being BFFs, you know, but can we work together? Like, can we have this as a starting point? So I feel like something's being presented here. Somebody's willing to take their time. Now, what is Scorpio going to think about that? What will be Scorpio's determination on this? What would be Scorpio's determination on this? A lot of Pentacles energy here too. This could also be because somebody has recognized that you've been putting in a lot of work, that where you were before is very different from where you are now. That might be something that's drawing their attention with the Two of Pentacles behind this person. Maybe they're in a more unstable position now. And so that's why they're coming towards you. They see that you have some kind of stability, solidity, maybe financial advancement that you didn't have before. And with this, we have the Three of Cups, okay? So I think you are open to hearing from this person. I think you are open to seeing possibilities as far as, is there something that can be healed here on the other side of what you walked away from? This is something that's really going to be building during this cycle. I feel like you're reflecting on this right now. I do pick up there might be like a mutual sense of reflection here, even if you haven't heard from this person yet. This might be something you're considering as well. But what I'm really seeing here that weighs very heavily on this situation is this question about, are there still these other factors involved in this situation connected to this person? Because there was something that was really complicated that went down in the past. Now, in terms of the alchemists out there, those of you who are wizards, you may have suspected that somebody, if you know they move like that, was doing spiritual work on you. You may wonder if they're doing that now. I can't help it because I see the 3 here, I see the 3 here, and it's kind of, I don't know, you know, it looks a little sus. We know there was betrayal there, sneakiness here, and 8 of Pentacles. I mean, it could be a sign of that. I am going to get specification on that for you just to see. There could be a possibility. You may know this person kind of is manipulative too, and so I feel like that's something that could hold this up, because as far as you taking this offer to work with this person, I feel like you're sort of on the fence about it. And I think you might need to give yourself a little space to really consider before you pull the plug on it entirely and say, nope, I'm done, this is dusted. Or, you know, give it a chance to maybe turn into a point of celebration from what was a disappointment. So let me do a cut of the deck here, and then I'm going to dive into that question for you just to get some details here. I mean, we got the 4 of Cups here. I think you may want something a little bit more. I think you're really reflecting on whatever this was. See, again, isn't that interesting? The imagery here. There's 2 that are off to the side, and there's 1 that's advancing towards you. And then there's this other cup that Spirit's offering here. And I feel like this is what you really need to decide between. I think you suspect that this person may still be connected to these other 2. And if that's the case, it's a no-go for you. I feel like that's nothing but disappointment for you. Whatever is going to come in to fill your cup, it needs to be on a higher level. Okay, so I see you taking a time out, but there is something here that brings you a personal victory. I mean, we do have the 6 of Wands. So I think this is saying there's a need for contemplations, because this figure to me does look, they're not closed off. It's not like a traditional 4 of Cups, right? This person is not blocked off like this. They're more sitting, you know, like this. They're more sitting, meditating in a contemplative space. They're getting grounded. They're rooting themselves with the tree medicine, maybe even making connection with their higher consciousness here in a state of contemplation. Should I accept this cup? Can I trust this offer? So there can be alignment here, but it does look like there's some point of victory here, some success here, you know. Again, there's just really a need to contemplate at this time, access your higher wisdom. This does really evoke vibes of Virgo for me. So certainly this is about whether or not to restart a cycle with somebody that you dealt with in the past, because it makes me think of the South Node energy. You could also be dealing with somebody with a strong Virgo placement. Let me get details on the spiritual work aspect. You know, I got to pull out my shadow light playing cards for that. And that's where we go when we need clarification here. I mean, we got the 7 of Diamonds here. So I do feel like however this person's approaching you, it's very practical, all right? I don't think it's going to be a hard sell, you know, to try to get their way in terms of all their desires met. This person is coming to the bargaining table. And I do feel like what they're offering here or what they're presenting, it is appealing. Because usually 7 of Diamonds it's some good news, you know. It's something that could potentially be worthy of investment. And this could be somebody's wanting to work with you. That might be the way they're presenting something at first. Like, I know things didn't go right between us back there, but I think there's something that we could really grow together. And maybe through growing something together, whether that's like a project we work on or a creative endeavor or some kind of work that we do together. It could be just getting down to the nuts and bolts of working on healing the connection, healing the relationship. I feel like something good can come out of it. And so there is this question of, should I invest in it? But see, there's hidden aspects here that you're concerned about. Like you feel like you're not getting the full story. I see that's what really comes forward. And you really need to peer into this to get the details because you're trying to protect yourself from having the same kind of experience where you don't have the full details, the full scope of the story, and then you end up experiencing a rather severe ending. I don't think you want to go through that again after you just got to the other side of it. So somebody is presenting to you a way to work together, to move forward. It might even be coming through that angle like, let's work on this project together, or let's go through counseling together, or can we start to heal our relationship? Maybe we start as friends, all right? So I feel like there's going to be these practical details, like somebody is just making an initial offer, offering to take their time, presenting a way forward, coming in with Cancerian energy here. They want to nurture something. They want to place a new foundation, you know, down there for what you build together here so you can rise above the challenges of the past. I want to know, is there anything manipulative at work in this situation? Are there any magical workings connected to this situation for those who have suspected spiritual work? Are there any third parties that are compromising, that are still attached to this situation? Because these cards will give me the details about all that, Scorpio. I'm starting to get really hot in here, okay? I mean, clearly, you're going to need to take your time with this, okay? I do feel like you did balance out this situation. You did arrive at a point of truth. You feel very secure in that. You feel like something has been settled. I do feel like you feel blocked to this communication. Like you immediately suspect it when it comes your way. And isn't that wild? It does come in with the Jack of Diamonds. The Jack of Diamonds is coming through in the light though. And I got to tell you something about the Jack of Diamonds in the light is somebody who is loyal. There's somebody loyal and there's somebody trustworthy, okay? So I do see the resistance to hearing this person out. But if you take the 11 and you add it to the 8, you get the 19. That's the sun. There could be a Leo connection here too. Like there is the potential that this person is being legit with you. And your fear could hold you back. Strong Virgo energy here too, all right? And you could cut off an opportunity when it really could be something, you know, you could find balance in this situation. And that might surprise you. There could also be, let's see, there could be 14. That would be Temperance, okay? I think this is something that takes time to balance out. There could be a Sagittarius connection. There could be a Taurus connection as well. This could be something at least opening up to the conversation that could give freedom for both of you. from a certain position that has made both of you feel really held back, but you have to be open to the experience. I mean, but look, there is the potential here. There is. There's the potential for happiness here. Something really to celebrate. I have to tell you. I do feel like they're moving forward genuinely with the Jack of Hearts here. Okay? It's coming up in the light. All right? Let me get... That's the basis of them heading towards you and sort of like how you're going to feel about it. Are there any of these compromising elements still in play? Let me just get this for you to cap it off, Scorpio. Are there any of these elements still in play that Scorpio needs to be aware of making this decision? Okay, we got something in the shadow here crossing all of this. Let's see what this is. We got the 9 of Diamonds here crossing. There could be this quality where this person is not as financially or materially stable as they used to be. And that may be why they're kind of drawn towards you, because they do realize that maybe they didn't realize, like, how can I put this? How solid you were. That's kind of how it's coming through. Like maybe when you were connected to this person, there was some kind of practical instability going on in your life. And so they made an assumption, maybe like you didn't have your shit together. That's kind of how it's coming through. And so they might have passed you by for something that appeared more of a glimmery thing, and they got lured in by that. And then they really realized that it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. Like, not all that glitters is gold. And now they see that you've really turned something around, and that might be initially what is drawing them towards you. Also, it could be under the guise that they want to work with you on something like a project, some kind of endeavor, some kind of creative project, but they're not really being true about their real intentions. It does look like they have a desire to restart something here on a more emotional, heart-centered level. What do we got here? I mean, we got the 2 of Spades, and it's coming up in light. So at the very least, what I really do see is you're not going to rush into anything with this person. I think that you're going to hear this person out, and you're going to take your time. I don't see you calling like a definitive ruling, you could say, on this matter initially. You need to take some space for yourself to digest what comes through here. Let me do a cut of the deck to cap it off. We got the 4 of Diamonds in the shadow. All right, so I know that, yeah, you're gonna hear them out. You're gonna let down your guard enough to hear them out and to see what they're presenting here. But you are going to be in this place where you're going to need some space to really get grounded out here and feel out if you want to invest in this again. It's coming in with the energy of 6, the Lovers, so there could be a Gemini connected to this. You do have to act out of your self-knowledge in making this choice. It is sort of like a crossroads position. You're going to have to decide, does this person come forward with you or not? And I think for the time being, you're going to feel like there's hidden details here. I would say in terms of any kind of business arrangement this person wants to get you roped into, I would be very cautious of that. All right? I'd be very cautious of that because it looks like you're just starting to lay down some security for yourself. I certainly wouldn't sign anything on the dotted line. I wouldn't get into any kind of contractual agreements because there's hidden factors at work there. Let's just say it like that, Scorpio, okay? So this is not going to be resolved at this time, but do I see that there could be potential to kind of like work things out and maybe, if anything, close things out better than they were last time? That could be possible. There could be potential for future happiness, but I feel like there's a lot more work that needs to be done in this situation before that would be possible. So it's up to you to decide, okay, Scorpio? You need to take the time to feel out, is this important enough for you that you're willing to open up to this? And I think that's really what you're grappling with up to the point of getting to your new moon. All right. 1:09:11 on the clock. We're going to read now for, let's go next in line would be Aquarius, okay? Bottom of the deck. Aquarius, you're really in your head about something. You feel like you don't have what you need to take some kind of action. Some of you may be feeling like you're stuck, okay? A lot of this is in your mind, though. When we're looking at the Eight of Swords, this can even be feeling like we're... I don't like using that word, so I'm not going to use it. Let's see. We're at a disadvantage in a situation. But really it's because there's not a full recognition of the power that we do hold, okay? So there's something you're really in your head about. You're not feeling empowered. You feel like the odds are stacked against you. You don't know what you should do, what action you should take. That's the basis of the matter. Let's see what else we got coming in here for Aquarius. What does Aquarius need to know at this time? What does Aquarius need to know at this time leading up to the new moon in Scorpio on the 20th? What does Aquarius need to know at this time? What guidance does Aquarius need at this time? What do they need to be on the lookout for? Bottom of the deck, 10 of Swords. Just looking at the initial energy that came in, the 8 and the 10, 18. You don't know how to even pull destiny out of the fate that you were dealt. That's what I feel. Something really intense happened here. You feel like I'm down and out for the count. Like, I don't know if I have anything left to give here. Something felt pretty brutal the way it ended here. You felt like you really got stabbed in the back. And you might feel like you're out of options, but there is something that's hinted at here with the 8 of Swords, that it's all in your mind. Like, you have more power than you think you do. It might be that your power is what's kind of concealed from you at this time, that you do have the power to change your circumstances. You might be feeling sorry for yourself, Aquarius, okay? I just have to be real with you. 18, the moon, I do feel like there's been things that have been concealed, and maybe it's that aspect that you don't know exactly what you'll find if you do take an action that is keeping you in this state, that's keeping you trapped. Whereas if you got out of your head and you actually started to set some things in motion, rather than dealing with what ifs, you would be dealing with what is. And that would automatically put you in a more informed position. I do feel like something did come to an end here, right? And it weighs heavily on your consciousness. And it might have made you like a little bit gun shy, like a little bit afraid of putting yourself out there, or, you know, just taking a risk to set something new in motion in your life, right? A little timid for an Aquarius, right? We got to get out of that position. Oh, so much came out here. Oh, you are guarded. You are guarded, for sure. You have been fending off one thing after another. You may really be keeping yourself. You may be isolating yourself. You may be cutting other people off. You may feel like my home is my fortress and nobody is going to penetrate these walls. Like, I really do feel like maybe you're not getting out and about. You're keeping to yourself. You might be licking your wounds a little bit here. You've been putting out a lot of fires. You feel like there's going to be more coming at you. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I don't know. I do feel like there's somebody approaching you. They're making some kind of offer, and you really don't know if you can trust this person at all. We got the High Priestess here. There's something operating here. This could even be, I have to tell you, maybe there was sort of like a clandestine relationship you had here. It's possible. And maybe there's aspects of that brought a lot of complication into your life. It could have brought a lot of judgment into your life. It could have stirred up more trouble than it was worth. Like, I do see that you've been in this position of really having to take a stand for yourself, fend off a lot of BS, a lot of drama, maybe a lot of opposition, a lot of arguments here. And you're really just trying to protect your peace here. You're trying to preserve your space from the onslaught of this. And I think that you felt some kind of disappointment. Something was concealed in a situation you were dealing with, something you weren't aware of. And I think that once you became aware of it, you really got closed off to potentially a particular person. High Priestess energy. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Okay. What is this? You might have somebody advancing towards you. What do we got here? Well, we got Justice, okay, upright, which is good. So something's been balanced out here, Libra energy. And with that, we got the Knight of Wands. Is some kind of advance. Six of Swords, okay. Knight of Swords. Two of Pentacles. I see. Knight of Cups. I get this. Okay. If you look at the way it's laid out, this is somebody thought that they were going to get some kind of justice by taking a very impassioned action to move in another direction, all right? They might have been led by the wand. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that really piqued their interest. It's something that turned them on. It made them feel alive. They were really passionate about it. Maybe they moved away from a situation where they did have some kind of balance established, but they might have gotten like a little bored with that. They might have rushed in another direction, maybe even really moving forward in such a way that it was impetuous, like threw caution to the wind. I think whatever direction they were heading in, okay, this could be you or this could be another. There was a lot of heat on it and a lot of inflamed emotions, but it feels more like passionate, really stirred up, right? And they went in that direction. And what they were greeted with when they got there was a lot of instability. It didn't turn out the way they thought it would. There was a lot of fluctuating fortunes, so much opposition, okay? Nothing was able to get stabilized. It ended up being like two ships passing in the night. What you thought was going to come in didn't come in. And in fact, all that you found coming towards you were a whole bunch of troubles and a complicating situation. There could be a mother and child connected to this situation. And this could have also really made things a lot more complicated. This may be why you were put in a position where you did feel like you had to defend yourself, okay? And this could have been a more sort of like clandestine or hidden connection, advancement here. In some cases, there could be a love child connected to this situation, and that's what's being hidden, because I see the Empress here and the Emperor. This is what is behind the Justice. The Empress and Emperor. So potentially you could have already been connected to somebody. You could have been married to somebody. You could have already had some kind of balance established with an Empress or an Emperor. All right. Aries energy, Libra energy coming in here. And behind that is the Four of Wands, right? With the Ace of Wands, with the Ace of Cups. This is the history of this situation. But somebody started looking at options. Somebody started to get confused and enticed by their options. And so they chose to head in another direction and offer their cup in another direction. And this may be something that was concealed. And it looks like it created a lot of imbalance. It caused arguments. It caused a lot of fallout, maybe even with a friend group, maybe with the family, maybe affected reputation. There could be a love child involved. This brought a whole slew of problems with it. And now it looks like somebody wants to reverse their decision and head back from where they came to offer a cup of love and start again. It's interesting. We have to remember we're in a retrograde cycle here. So there's going to be a lot of this coming back around. It's usually not wise during a retrograde to let anything back in. You know, it's better to sit with things, really reflect on things before you take an action in this direction. So I'm not sure, Aquarius, if you are the one approaching or if somebody is approaching you, but you would know, what side of this you're on. People in play in this situation, strong Libra energy, Aries energy, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio connected to this energy. All right. That's primarily what is on the board here. I do feel like there's sort of this vibe like you don't know what you got until it's gone. Somebody went forward very impetuously to what they thought would be sort of like, I don't know. It feels a bit like, I don't know how to say it other than to almost over dramatize it, like the Holy Grail, like, this is it. This is it. Maybe something felt too secure. It felt, too predictable. This is somebody whose fire got the better of them, The fire got the better of them and they just went impetuously in this direction. It caused some kind of fallout, I see. And it ended pretty brutally here. And now somebody feels really stuck. Like there's almost this vibe of like, I want to try to recover what I didn't value. And I don't know how that's going to turn out. Let's see what you're going to think of this, because it does look like an offer is going to be made here. Whether you're making it or somebody else is making it. I mean, it is coming in with the Knight of Cups energy. So it could be coming from a water sign. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio might be making an offer. All right. But it's also just, it's the nature of the movement. There's love behind it. Somebody wants to come back in out of the cold. They're hoping they can, break the ice here after they acted really impetuously. It looks like made a judgment call that it's a bit of biting off more than they can chew. That's what it looks like to me. All right. They want to try to make something right with somebody here. See if they can recover the balance that was lost. All right. This could be balancing things out with the family. This could be balancing things out in the home. There's absolutely like the hearts involved here, though. This isn't like a business situation at all. Although I do feel like there was a loss of stability in heading in this direction. And this is what you're kind of like mired in, sorting through, feeling up in your head about. Now, it can be, how do I approach this person? It could also be, should I accept this offer? So it's interesting because when it comes through the elemental expression, there can be like similar themes that come through. I mean, we do have the High Priestess here. I mean, you could be dealing with a Scorpio, some of you. You could be a Leo rising. Okay, what do we got here? I mean, this is the thing. See, this is coming out sort of cross, but it's on the upswing. So somebody is recognizing that they walked away from a soulmate and they're hoping to recover that. This is somebody that feels like, our souls are connected and I didn't realize what I had. until I effed it all up and I want to try to start again. All right. Aquarius, that's your energy there. It is your energy. Also, you know, Aquarius, I do see that, you know, there's some kind of risk you're considering here. You're also on the precipice of a brand new life. But there may be an energy here who's like, wait, I didn't make the right choice back there. And I want back in, okay? There could be an Aries connected to this situation too. All right, well, what is the best call for Aquarius to make in this situation? You're definitely heading into a new cycle here. But I think there's a lot of fear, trepidation around it, not wanting to repeat patterns of the past. And wanting to travel light moving forward, not wanting to carry a bunch of baggage forward with you. Oof. There is a tricky dynamic to deal with here. There could be a little codependency you're dealing with in this situation. It's something that's operating subconsciously that you do need to take a look at. It has a lot to do with power dynamics. There could be a Capricorn connected to this situation. Also, what could have gotten somebody, you know, kind of feeling the heat was their lower nature, you know. They liked the way something looked. It turned them on, you know. They were ruled by the wand, you know. Their loins took the lead, and that's what got them caught up, okay? So let's see what this is. Crossing energy. Oof. It's a lot to overcome, I have to tell you, with the Ten of Swords. Something does need to be brought to an end, and it has something to do with a sabotaging influence. It could be a codependent dynamic. It could be allowing vices to take the lead here. But in order to really be able to overcome this and pull something out of it, you cannot sweep things under the rug. You got to look at the reality of the situation. Let me do a cut of the deck on this. I mean, this is what you're facing. And so I understand why there's this hesitation to act on something because you feel really stuck. It's sort of like recognizing that something went really bad back there. I don't want to repeat that. I would like to try to have a new beginning here. I'd like to approach, you know, life in a whole new way. I want to open a new chapter. I don't want to carry all this baggage forward with me. And something's coming towards you that maybe is an invitation to restart that again. You know, perhaps this connection that really did get you caught up, that brought all this drama in your life. And you're weighing it up. I know that there's enough of a draw there that it's something that you're really like, I don't know, should I not? Let me do a cut of the deck and see what we got. I see you opening up to a brand new experience. We have the Fool again. 9 of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so this is what I see. I have to be real with you. With the 9 of Pentacles in reverse, what's behind that? Ooh, see? 6 of Pentacles. This is like wanting to throw caution to the wind. This is potentially being a little foolish, not being mindful about how you should have caution in this situation. There's a lot to be lost here. There's also a lack of growth here. Something really needs to be recognized because I see that there could be the desire. It's like on the surface, yeah, I want to balance something out. But what's hidden here is that there is still like somebody here who's holding all the power. And there's 2 here that are in more of a subservient position. So this is an imbalance of power. This is some kind of codependent dynamic. And I do think there's a need to really dive deep here. Mine for the gold, okay? Something needs to be transmuted here to really get to the other side of this, to move forward in a way that will lead you into a new chapter of your life. So what I would say with this is, if you move forward in a clandestine situation and you don't heed your experiences in the past, you're going to go through another experience of loss. You may lose bigger than you did the first time. Ooh. Oh my goodness, look at how that came out. Whoa. Look at this. Look at this. Chariot in reverse. No. You should not move forward with something that's concealed. Strong water sign energy around this. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Look at this. This is a temptation. You're going to be faced with temptation, man. You're washing up on Temptation Island, Aquarius. You need to be aware of this. This is like, let's just sneak around. Let's just keep it hidden. The temptation is strong. This could even be like going back to a situation, trying to balance it out because you realize, like, I didn't move right back there. That wasn't the right call. And then here comes the temptress again, or the tempter, and going, maybe just one more time. Maybe just one more time. It will really screw things up on the home front here with this Chariot in reverse. You really need to look at something honestly here because it's going to cause a lot of loss for two. And this is now the cards are getting really slippery here, Aquarius. I have to tell you, it's going to create injury. I feel like it's going to cause problems at home. This is not a fair dynamic. This is an abuse of power. And there's absolutely a Queen of Wands at the helm here. Okay, so this is like a tempting energy. And it's going to bring nothing but anxiety, fear, disruption. In some cases, this is something hidden coming up and out. And it's creating a crossroads situation. You're going to have to make a judgment call about this, okay? So do the work, man. This is about really looking at your subconscious motivations. You need to master this. It's not going to help to sweep things under the rug here. You need to look at the reality of the situation. You do stand to lose quite big here. I also feel like where you have been operating with something that was concealed, prepare for it to come up and out. And it may even be the temptress or the tempter that was keeping things under wraps is about to blow the cover because they see that you want to try to work things out with the situation that you compromised heading in that direction, or that they compromised, okay? It's a little dualistic here. It could work either way, okay? But there is something compromising here where you stand to lose a lot. I feel like wherever there was a moving away from a home situation where there was alignment, I mean, Empress to Emperor here, it really got sacrificed and created a lot of instability. And this devil's coming around to tempt you again. Are you going to pass the test? Or are you going to blow it? All right. I see there's a desire to reclaim something here, but if there never was like a real honest clearing out on either party's part, this is coming home to roost. So there is something to navigate here. And in that case, I would say, you know, put all your cards on the table. Be honest, be real. Especially if you're hoping to work something out with someone where you realize I didn't make the right judgment call back there. Because it's not going to be helpful for you to bypass that at all. It's just going to put you in a worse position than before, okay? So really be mindful of this. And I'd like to deliver like more of an upbeat message, but this is the reality of the territory we are moving through right now. It's not the easiest astrological atmosphere, all right? We're all facing challenges right now moving forward. All right, let's see. Taurus, 13304. Master Builder number coming in there. You're considering an action, Taurus. You are considering an action. You've been weighing something out for a while. You're really trying to be smart about what choice you make moving forward here. It could be a Gemini connected to your situation, right? There could be some communication connected to your situation. You're really contemplating, should I open up the lines of communication? There could be an Aries connected to your situation, Emperor connected to your situation. You want to make the right judgment call here, All right, what is coming in for Taurus during this cycle? What does Taurus need to be aware of in the lead up to that Scorpio new moon on the 20th? What is coming in here for Taurus to navigate during this retrograde season? What does Taurus need to be aware of? All right, let's check it out, Taurus. Bottom of the deck, Judgment, okay? So something's being revived here. It did come to a close and it's getting stirred up again, right? There's some kind of judgment going down here. Could be connected to a Sagittarius. There could be 3 people involved in this situation. There could be a family connected to this situation. There could be a child in play in this situation. Let's see what is coming in here. What is coming in for Taurus? 6 of Swords to the Star. Okay. So, absolutely, there could be a child connected to this situation, or this could be a family dynamic. There's been a lot of troubles. There's been a lot of strifes to sort through, a lot of hardship. And I do feel like you've been moving forward, still carrying this pain with you. You've been trying to cleanse this. You've been reflecting a lot on this. You've been trying to get clear about how you can move forward in such a way that it can bring that light, that hope back in your life. I think you've been doing a lot of deep healing work. You've been doing a lot of spiritual cleansing. And there is a desire, you know, to get to the other side of something that's been pretty difficult. I mean, I feel like there was a situation here where you did have to take a knee, you know. You had to catch your breath. There might have been something that knocked the wind out of you. There could be a Sagittarius or an Aquarius connected to this situation. Whatever's set in motion right now, whatever you're moving away from here, there's a lot you're carrying forward with you that does create the need for some healing and reflection. And on the bottom of the deck here, we have the High Priestess, okay? So you're doing a deep dive right now. You're very much in the space of just feeling things out, trusting your intuition. There's also a lot that's operating beneath the surface in this situation. We got Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio coming in here. All right, let's check this out. So there's something that's hidden, something that's concealed. It could be a secret connected to this situation. You did move away from something, but there's still like sorrow connected to this. There's troubles that are being carried forward with you. And that's why there's a lot of reflection going on here. There's like this desire to I got to kind of catch my breath after having the wind knocked out of me. You're in a place of reflection, trying to sort something out, doing a lot of deep healing, integrative work. Some of you are doing healing work around your inner child, your young self. There could be family dynamics operating in this situation. What is this that's coming in for Taurus? It does show that there's hope on the other side of this, though, you know. There is something that's going to come in off in the distance that is going to give you reason to feel optimistic. But it's going to take some time. I do think that you recognize that love wasn't all it was cracked up to be. There was something that led to some kind of disappointment here. Yeah, you learned about some kind of betrayal here, and it left a bitter taste in your mouth. That's what I got. And this 7 of Pentacles and this Page of Cups in reverse landed right on top of the 6 of Swords. You could have learned something about a child that really threw you out of balance. Or somebody who was acting childish, somebody who was acting immaturely. that made you pull out investment in this situation. You could have found out that somebody had a family. You weren't even aware of that. You obviously learned about something pretty shady here. Something that was concealed from you. It's like some kind of secret got exposed. And it left you feeling betrayed. And it knocked the wind out of you. That's what I feel. There could be a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio connected to this situation in relation to this. And I think this has made you feel really closed off. I don't think you've been even open to letting anything into the heart space because you've really been reflecting on this situation. You've been trying to heal something here. But I do feel like there's some kind of opportunity coming in here. But I don't think you're even aware of it because you've been really distracted by this. What is the crossing energy? Ooh, the devil. The devil. Okay, so yeah, here comes this tempter again, or this temptress again, trying to lure you back in. I mean, I feel like you made some judgment call here. You cut something off. You realized that there was something, I mean, the word wants to come forward. There was something sinister operating in a situation. Something was going on here that wasn't quite right. Somebody was holding power over you too. You became aware of some kind of deception. And you also might have done something to try to rectify that. I mean, I'm just noticing how this devil is holding the torch to this impious character's tail here. I don't know why it's coming through like that. But you may have felt like, you know, it is coming through that you may have gotten angry, you know. You might have felt like you needed to take an action to teach somebody a lesson too. This may be something that you're becoming aware of, right? I don't know if this has totally come up and out yet. You may be becoming aware of something here. And maybe this devil doesn't know you know. I mean, this is a really manipulative energy too. The Page of Cups in reverse. I feel like this is who's bringing an offer forward. They may not know that you're aware of some way that they betrayed you here. This is new energy. Like you're learning about something here. And this is your energy in the upright, right? And when you learn this, it's almost like you want to hold this person to the fire. It's like you want to teach them a lesson. You've learned about some kind of manipulation here, something that this person did that was working against you. And it could even be something that involves a family member or a child, and that's what really like has your hackles up. You know, you feel it's justified. It's justified to bring the heat on this person's tail, man. That's what I feel here. You don't want to take this offer when you find out about this. You don't want this person's cut. You want to spill it out. That's what I see. You don't just want to spill it out, though. You want to bring some fire their way because of what you find out here. The devil coming in with the 5 of Swords, with the Page of Cups in reverse to the 7 of Pentacles in reverse. You wish you never would have invested in this. That's what I got. I wish I never would have invested in this. This made me worse off than ever before. And there's also some piece here too about it's making you really reflect upon yourself, you know? Maybe you feel like you got duped a little bit. There might be a little sting associated with this. There's something you're really closed off to here and then you're contemplating. And you don't want this offer anymore once you find out about this. Give me more details about this for Taurus. More details about this for Taurus. Now, this could be a friend. It could be a family member, okay? This doesn't have to be anything romantic. I mean, I'm not seeing any heavy hitter romantic cards here. I'm seeing more friendly cards or familial cards here, okay? But whatever you're learning here, you're like, oh, hell no. That's 14408. You're going to bring a tower to this person. That's the action you're going to take. And by you bringing a tower to this person, it allows you to reclaim the hope of the star. That's what I feel. Now this card went and is covering the devil. So what do we got here? Capricorn energy there. Look at that. Their sneakiness is exposed. You're finding out about something. You're finding out about something. Somebody concealed something from you. They thought they got away with it. They thought it was well hidden. It's not. It's all coming up and out. It's being revealed to you. And now you're really considering how you can make this person feel the burn for what they did to you. That's what I see. That's what I see. I don't know, for those of you Tauruses that are alchemists, you may even be considering doing a little left-hand path work. I have to tell you. I do. I have to tell you. I have to tell you here. You might be bumping up against a little bit of that aspect of yourself too that needs to be alchemized so you don't sort of like perpetuate this energy, you know, get maybe even chained to this energy. That's something to consider, right? I'm just saying, because when we look at the star here on the star card, this is the star of Ishtar, right? So Ishtar, you know, she goes down into the underworld and she has to face those gates of hell. And at each gate, she sheds a false adornment, you know? She sheds all the superficial trappings, all the things that she identified with herself that weren't her at all. And then she appears before Ishkrigel, naked, vulnerable, really getting back to the core essence of who she is. And then she rises and she shines like Inanna, Queen of the Heavens, you know? And this is what you're going through right now. It's like, maybe in some ways when you deal with this exposure, you're really looking at it, you're realizing, you know, the ties that bind, you're realizing ways that you were chained to something, ways that you were maybe even revering your chains, you know. And so I also see the devil kind of coming through as cautionary here that's saying, you know, where you may really want to like bring the heat to a certain person, that in some way too can chain you to this cycle. Like there might be a heavy duty need for transmutation in this situation. This can even be like impulses you have to get even or to rectify a situation that you feel justified in doing. I mean, there's a lot of shady energy here. There's betrayal, there's hardship, there's stress, there's strife, there's manipulation, man. Sneaking around stuff that's been hidden. And I mean, it looks sinister. I have to tell you, this is dirty energy. This could be a friend who did you like real dirty. This could be a family member who did you real dirty. This could be somebody who was in a position of power and they used that against you. They held it over your head. They brought you to your knees. I mean, this is something here where you need to be really reflective before you act out of the ego, okay? To get some kind of lick back. That's what I feel, in order for you to rise above this and get the redemption on the other side of the situation. It's almost saying like what you're considering here, I have to say it, especially if you're considering like some kind of magical action, just with the nature of these cards coming out here, the star, the devil, the high priestess, be careful of investing in this direction. It actually could put the heat on your butt where you were looking to bring it to another. Just cautionary. It is coming through, so I want to speak to this. What's needed is reflection, healing, taking a time out here to get clear before you take your next step. Because there's trouble brewing here. I see there's a lot of anxiety here. There's a lot of stress here. Somebody may also have gotten you really caught up in something that you don't want to be caught up in. You might be attached to it, tied to it, because there were subversive elements in play. You didn't know all the details. Something was hidden from you. Whatever was hidden, though, whatever sneaky aspects are in this situation, you are getting the details, and it's causing some kind of like anxiety, stress, worry. 1:13:11 on the clock. Something does need to be brought to an end here to bring about justice, to bring about a sense of balance in this situation. So really consider your next action. Give me more details about this for Taurus. Give more details about this for Taurus. How should Taurus handle this situation? There's some kind of exposure here. And it's a little bit of a rough awakening moment here. How does Taurus need to handle this situation? A lot of deceptive elements swirling around in this matter. It does have the vibe of like a friend or a family member, you know, somebody doing something to grab a hold of the power in a situation that puts you in a compromising position. And it's bringing about a potent point of reflection here. There's betrayal here. Something really sneaky. It's like getting the rug pulled out from under your feet. Something that really catches you by surprise. It's not the easiest territory to move through. Okay. That almost didn't want to come out, but it did. So I wonder what that is, right? Some kind of communication coming in here. Some kind of movement coming in here. Something's changing here. It is upright though, okay? Basis of the matter. You really got to pay attention. That's been coming out a lot lately. Pay attention. Next 8 minutes. Next 8 hours. Next 8 days. There's a lot of information coming through here that will give you some kind of illumination about the best way to move forward in this dynamic. So don't act too rashly. Take a knee, okay? Take a knee. Catch your breath. Do a little reflection, you know? Let out your emotions before you take action here. You're going to need strength to rise above this provocation, perhaps. You got some good heavy hitter energy coming in here to support you with these major arcanas. You have the strength to rise above the obstacles, the challenges that this devil has put in your path through bringing illumination to what has been operating subversively in a situation. There's hidden elements involved in this situation, and because these things are being lit up for you, it could even be aspects of yourself, subconscious things that have been motivating you in a situation. Because this is being lit up for you, because of the heat that's being felt here, this is a point of transformation that can help you really turn things around. But there's a need to temper this, you see. We got the fire here coming in with the water. And so this is a bit of needing to alchemize something, balance something out. The Empress is hinted at here. This is your energy. You can bring this into balance if you take the time to really reflect on this and don't just allow your fiery impulses to take over, where you create more of an inflammatory situation that could potentially get you caught up here too and in a real disadvantaged position. There could be a Leo connected to this situation as well. This is also a past matter. This could go back to 2018, all right? You do have Uranus back in your sign. You know this. I feel like something was operating here in a way where it felt comfortable for you for a while. You may have even felt like you had the upper hand or you were in a position of power. And now there's something that's shifting here, something that's changing here, and it could be connected to a Leo. But what's really operating in this situation is a need to look at what is creating this feeling of hurt. because there's something that needs to be healed here. And you need to have strength to face this. You need to have strength in order to transform this energy and rise above it. But you do have the ability to do it if you can open up to this communication, and if you can really go into the belly of the beast with this situation. You may need to dance with this devil in the pale moonlight in order to really alchemize this experience and reclaim your empowerment so you can rise above it. But the potential is here. You do have the strength to overcome this. I see this. Leo, Capricorn, Aquarius, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, strong Pisces. You could be dealing with another earth sign energy too. Could be dealing with another Taurus. Could be dealing with a Virgo. Strong Capricorn though. Strong Capricorn. The Capricorn may be one who's in a position of power here too, that's taking an action that could compromise you, or there could be something here about the house of Capricorn. So, you know, something that affects the standing on a public level, public reputation, business aspirations, the ability to move forward in that way, all right? But I do see that there is the ability to overcome this. It's just that it's a little rough with what you're learning about here. I do feel like there will be movement forward in your situation though by the close of the year. In Capricorn season, there will be some kind of movement forward. As long as you don't avoid looking at the root of this matter and what has been creating this blockage, what's been making you feel really held back here. Okay, any other details that want to come in for Taurus? Any other details that Taurus needs to know about this? Okay, this could be in relation to a King of Cups, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio energy, an offer of love. And there it is. I mean, we got the Magician here. So we had the High Priestess. Now we got the Magician. There definitely could be some alchemy at work here. This is Gemini energy. I think that if you really balance things out and you strongly consider what action to take, when you take the action, it will be the right action that can bring about transformation in a situation. May even be able to revive a connection here as well, turn something around. And this can be like just when a relationship, a connection looks like it's on the brink of disaster, if the right balancing out is brought forward in this situation, if you don't act out of the ego, if you don't take a rash action and you just allow yourself to reflect a little bit and understand what's operating here, there's an ability to revive something where you thought for sure it was done and dusted, okay? But it does require you being really balanced in the action you take here, and also being aware of how you're communicating about something here. There might be need to have real solid negotiations that come through lines of communication here. Also to just really get down to the heart of the matter as well. Okay, let's do a cut of the deck and see what we got here. Look at this. So there is something that can be secured here. If you really stay in your strength, I see a lot of growth coming through for you, and where you were looking at potentially a loss of some kind of stability, I do see that that will be regained. There's a lot of growth here, but it has everything to do with the way you move forward and taking a balanced action that doesn't negatively affect your standing, your reputation, or get you pulled into a really destructive cycle or put you in a compromising position where you're going to be attached to something where you could lose big. And I feel like the risk of that is pretty high because of this betrayal you're finding out about. it's going to want to make you act out of more of your lower nature. And you need to temper this, because I see if you handle this in the right way, you can really turn something around. Maybe just as it looked like all hope was sliding out of you, there's something you can recover here, okay? This is really you choosing growth, okay? Growth. And that doesn't just pay off in your material reality. I think financially, you look really good here. So if you were worried about your stability, if you were worried about anything foundational here, like home, family, finances, this all looks really good, okay? I also feel like your health is really going to be improving here, right? So pay attention to this, because it really is the key. And this looks like something that's healing on a family level. All right. There is a way to get to the other side of this storm, but it requires you to be the calm eye in the center of the storm. All right. You cannot get caught up in the centrifugal force of all this crap that's whirling around you. Stay calm here. That's how there's going to be this real moment of homecoming. This feels like a family situation, a family dynamic. There could be, you know, somebody you really love here on the other side of this. There could be children involved in this situation. I mean, you might need to take a strong action independently here, okay? Really stand in your truth. Really take action from an individual standpoint where it's about choosing growth for yourself. Don't just get taken along for the ride or rise to provocation because others are moving that way. That's where you could really lose big. But I feel like if you stay rooted in your own position of self-worth, which you know to be true for you, what you've learned through your own life experiences here, you have the ability to master this. And that's why Uranus is revisiting your sign here, okay? There's something that goes back to 2018, maybe something really unhealthy, something toxic that got set in motion back there. And you're having the opportunity right now to rise above that and set things right. And I think if you do this, you're really going to hit the mark. And with 9 and 10, this comes to 19. This is the sun. There will be success on the other side. You will weather the storm. And there's something that beautiful, something really beautiful comes out of this. And this is coming in with strong Leo energy here, okay? So I get it. There's something here that's kind of, you know, difficult to navigate, but take your time, all right? Don't just rush to provocation. Don't just rush into these negotiations. Like, take a breath, okay? Take a knee. Let yourself kind of reflect a little bit before you move forward here, so you don't move forward with more troubles. You can move forward in a position of strength. And then I feel like you doing this, you really embodying this energy, it also heals rifts within the family or within a circle of loved ones that are very dear to your heart here. And there could be a really significant, you know, heart connection involved in this too, that is able to be mended, preserved, all right? So move smart here. Move smart here, Taurus. Okay, bringing in finally Leo at 20221. All right, master builder number coming in here. It takes two. There's somebody you're teaming up with here. You bring your energies together. This connection brings a lot of gifts, blessings into your life. It's also bringing about a successful completion to a cycle. What deck do I want to use for you? Angels and Imps. Angels and Imps. All right. Let's see what is coming in for Leo here. What does Leo need to be aware of in this cycle leading up to the Scorpio new moon on the 20th? What does Leo need to be aware of in this cycle? Ooh, gridlock. Something's getting jammed up here by this. Something is crossing here. We'll look at that in a minute. What's on the bottom of the deck here? Death. Time's up on something. You're in that tricky liminal space right now. It was 2:03:33 on the clock. Wow. Okay. So you're dealing with a situation where there's been a lot operating beneath the surface. High Priestess energy. Water sign energy could be connected to this. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. There's been secrets here. You're also trying to just trust your intuition in regard to something. There could be an Empress energy connected to this. There could be a mother connected to this. There could be a baby's mother connected to this. You could be the child of this mother that is the central figure here. There could be a Taurus, a Libra connection. These could be some characters in play. We got Scorpio coming in here too. Time's just about up on something. It feels like in deliberating over something, like there does need to be a judgment call here. But you're right in the in-between space where you might be trying to figure out, how is this going to play out? How is this going to balance out? Endings and rebirth. There could be some health challenges you've been moving through too. You might also be thinking of just like the health, the longevity of a situation, or how long can I stay in this position when I recognize that it's not healthy for me, that there isn't longevity here, that time's running out. I need to make a judgment call. Okay. Look at that effing hourglass, man. Like there is something that needs to be transformed here. What is this crossing energy? Oh, wow. The World. So yeah, something does need to be brought to a state of completion. And ironically, it's coming in with the fixed sign energy. Okay, so something's been in too fixed of a position for too long, too intractable of a position for too long. You could be dealing with a Taurus, a Scorpio, another Leo like you, or an Aquarius. You could be dealing with a Capricorn. Right now, you really need to tap your wisdom bank in making this call. I do feel like the time to take action is going to be coming really soon. This could also be related to like the birth of some kind of project, something you want to initiate. It's like your baby, you know? You've been trying to bide your time. You keep telling yourself, I'm going to do this. I want to make this happen, but you keep pushing it off, okay? If you take the action, if you move out of the state of inertia and you actually set this in motion, I do feel like you're going to be successful with this. There's success on the other side. The road opens, but nothing's going to happen if you just kind of continue to ponder it, looking at the clock, you know, wasting time. You gotta do something here. You got to do something here, Leo. So let's see what this is. What does Leo need to do in this situation? What is this coming into the main frame for Leo? We got another crossing energy coming in. A little impish energy coming in there. What's on the bottom of the deck here? Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, this is like, you know that there's something that you need to take action on. You need to invest in it if you want to get to your place in the sun. But you're anchored down in this position. And it's like, you feel like you're really like in this place of alignment with your truth. But see, this is a play sword. And so there's something here where maybe, you know, you're not being completely honest with yourself about what's holding you back here. You might be using a lot of excuses for why you're not seeing the forward progression you want to see, because see, you're anchored down here. There's something that you're not acknowledging here that you do need to acknowledge. This could have something to do with somebody you're talking to, some kind of association that you're entertaining here. You might be buying into everything this person's telling you. They keep telling you that, you know, you're going to invest in something together. There's going to be growth heading in this direction. And yet you just feel like nothing's happening. I mean, I do think you feel like this is my destiny. Like, this would make me happy. I want to see this progress, and yet nothing's moving here. And whatever this communication is, there is something that's a little bit murky here. It says it makes birds appear and behave as though they are tame, okay? And so birds is like messengers, messages. Something feels like it's harmless enough. It's harmless enough to entertain this, you know? It does feel like it would make me happy, and you may really believe what you're being told, but there's something here, it's like there's a little ambiguity with this truth, whatever it is. And not acknowledging that is what's weighing you down. It's preventing the elevation you desire. It's preventing the momentum you desire. It's blocking some kind of success you desire. And I also feel it's a little bit about the way that you're holding yourself back. You know, you may be doing a lot of talk about what you're going to be doing, the plans you want to set in motion, what you want to achieve here. But there's not a lot of backup. There's not a lot of follow through. And because of that, nothing's really happening. I mean, with the Knight of Pentacles here, if you want to see success in this direction, you're going to need to take some serious action. You can't just talk about it. You can't just pay lip service to it. And if this is something you're entering into with another, it's got to go beyond just the talking stage. Like, there's action that needs to be taken here. Otherwise, you could sit here forever and it'll just stall out. Okay? What's crossing here? Oh, a little bit of a devilish character here with the Ten of Pentacles, all right? There's a little tricksy element in play here. Yeah, and again, you know, this is a compromising arrangement. There's somebody that you're communicating with here that they know how to spin it, you know? They know how to spin it well. It makes it seem really enticing. It makes you feel like there's a lot of reward here. Maybe even somebody who says, yeah, let's team forces. Let's work together on this. But there's something hidden here. There's treasures that are hidden here by magicians. There's something that's concealed. And I think this is what's going to be revealed to you. And this may be somebody that's coming your way. It is retrograde season that you haven't really been in contact with for a while. This person's coming around. They may be, you know, really trying to sell you on something. You think this communication's harmless. Like, oh, there's nothing wrong with inviting this communication in. I mean, this may even be somebody that is very convincing. Somebody you're very drawn to here. This could be a very handsome devil. Or this could be somebody who's in a position of power that is promising you some kind of advancement, some kind of material reward. Something they want to invest in with you. But it says here that it reconciles friends and enemies. So there's a little ambiguity here that I'm not particularly digging. So let's sort through this, okay? I do know you need to take some kind of action here. You can't just sit around and wait for this person to deliver. I do feel like there is a Ten of Pentacles here, but it's almost like uncovers treasures hidden by magicians, right? So somebody can be very persuasive. They can be very manipulative with their words. They can really sell you on a story or convince you, you know, that this is something you're going to acquire if you play by their rules or you go along with their game plan here. And there's almost something here about this treasure is here for the taking, you know, and actually this person being involved in this situation may be the very thing that conceals the treasure from you. You know what I mean? Do you really need their help? Or is this something that you can acquire on your own? That's what I see. This could be a little bit of a compromising arrangement that could actually hold you back. It's almost like somebody promising you like some kind of advancement or reward, but their involvement actually hides this treasure from you. That's what it feels like. This could even be somebody who they need you more than you need them, you know? They act like, yeah, let's build this together. You know, we're both going to have this payoff big for us, but it's more like they're the ones who benefit more from that arrangement than you do. And they're relying on the friendly association. Now, a lot came out with this. And what I just heard here is this is your hand to play in this situation. And when we look at the hand you're dealt, this is the hand of fate, okay? And the way you play it determines your lot. It determines your destiny. Basis of the matter here. Knight of Swords. Oof. Knight of Swords, all right? It is coming in with Jaguar medicine. So, yes, you're moving through a little ambiguous territory here. There's a lot that's unknown in this dynamic that you do need to uncover. There's also the need to not only really be centered in your integrity in this situation, but to require that transparency from the other here. This person is speaking of something that they want to create with you, Knight of Swords energy. They're very convincing with their speech. This person's also taking some kind of action to really communicate their desires to you in a very convincing way so they can seal the deal, okay? There could be an air sign connected to this, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. They might also be explaining some things to you that you have questions about in regard to how things went down in the past. They're saying that they're being transparent here, all right? And they're also telling you that they'll team up with you to help bring down forces that have been working against you. Maybe they're telling you some people that have been, you know, working against you. You know, it's sort of like the impression of we're stronger if we team our forces together to address this matter and take down this opposition. And with that, we got the Hermit here. Okay? The Hermit. So trying to overcome something that has really been stuck here. It can't take off. It's been grounded out. Maybe because of some opposition. We got Virgo coming in here. You might have already caught wind of this too. You may have a lot of intuitive wisdom yourself, you know. It's like you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. I think you have dealt with some tricky characters here. And yeah, tricky characters here. Tricky characters here that are on the take. You know, you've dealt with this character in the past. It is coming out with the King of Pentacles. Could be a Virgo. This person's definitely trying to balance things out with you. And it could be somebody who wants to work with you. This could be a work-related matter, all right? You may have been really angry with this person or this association or this arrangement in the past. You may have felt like this person really ripped you off. You may have felt like they took you for a ride. And now they want to balance things out. You know, they're promising you some kind of security. You know, it'll be different this time. Let me tell you why it went awry in the past and how we can make it better this time around, okay? I think this is the basis of the matter of the situation you're dealing with. This very well could be a work situation for you. This could even be like you were promised some kind of advancement and it didn't pan out the way you were told it would. And this person may know that you're pretty PO'd about that and they want to try to come in, calm things down, restore harmony between the two of you, you know, re-solidify the connection. They may even want to get you into some kind of contractual arrangement with the Knight of Swords. They may want you to sign on the dotted line. Be aware of signing contracts. Make sure you're not like throwing caution in the wind and ignoring your own intuition. You know, I think there's certain details here that are reminding you of past experiences that you do need to be aware of. Let's see what your hand of fate is that you got here. We got the Page of Pentacles here, okay? So you're learning about something here, learning about an opportunity. This is somebody you are reconciling with, okay? They want you to follow their lead. They want you to go along for this ride. It could be a Virgo. That energy is coming out pretty strongly. Also, we had fixed sign energy come out with the World. It could be a Capricorn. It could be a Taurus too. Okay? This person's promising that they got your back. They're saying, look, I'm loyal to you. I'll be in it with you. I'll be in it to win it. You can count on me. But there is some kind of reconciliatory energy here, which lets me know that things weren't quite right in the past with this person. And I think that you're really privy to that, okay? High Priest is coming in here. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. What you got in your favor is that you have a real strong intuition. You have a real strong sense of things. And like I said, you can pick up the subtext. Like, you know what's operating beneath the surface here. And so I think you really do need to trust your intuition, because as long as you trust your intuition, and it feels like it's especially in signing on for something, signing on the dotted line, getting into some kind of contractual arrangement here, as long as you trust your intuition, I feel that you will have success here. And protection from any kind of legalities, any kind of binding agreements that really could lead you astray here. And if you move in that direction and you trust your intuition, I see big success here, okay? Look, something can really pay off with the Ten of Cups here. This can bring you a lot of happiness, see? Because if you trust your gut, if you trust your intuition, and you don't negate that, despite the hard sell here, if you don't play by somebody else's tune, and instead you lead the way, I do see you really overcoming something. You confound the wicked, and this brings you some kind of victory, peace, happiness, restoration in your life. It also secures a brand new beginning for you with the Fool. It opens the road. And I do see you setting your sights on a target that has you hitting the mark. There could be an Aries connected to this situation, an Aquarius connected to this situation, or a Leo rising connected to this situation as well. This is about really using your will to hit the mark. This is about understanding that you got what it takes to get this right this time and secure some kind of new beginning for you. And as long as you don't lose the plot, as long as you don't throw caution to the wind and you really trust your own intuition about how to move in this scenario, and you don't let somebody else take the lead, but instead you really let your intuition and just that sense you have take the lead here, it's going to pay off big. You'll be able to overcome any challenges in this situation, and you'll be assisted with difficult and great undertakings. And I do feel like this is you really just trusting your own truth here, you know? And you might be dealing with a character that really could hold you back. You might be better off kind of going at this alone, moving independently here with the Ace of Swords. Because see, this is almost like somebody from the past coming back around who wants to try to ride your coattails. And it's almost got like that kind of oppression here. And this is somebody, I do feel like there was a sense of connection here at one point. You felt like you were really in alignment with this person. You had a good friendship established. And this person is really convincing. I mean, they do know how to pluck those heartstrings. They know how to play on that side of you. But on another level, I can see how this person could hold you back. Because see, I see you're in this position where you're upright here, you know? You do have some decisiveness here. You did cut yourself free from some kind of compromising situation that allowed you to move forward in a way where you weren't held back. And now this person might need an assist. They might want to come along for a ride. And yet they're sort of presenting it like, if we do this together, you know, I'm going to be able to help you take this further than you'd be able to get it on your own. I do feel like there is truth being communicated here with the Ace of Swords. And I do feel that what somebody's saying about we can really do something together here, I do think they really believe that. I do. I don't think that they have negative intentions. But there's something here, when I think about the Fool, I think about somebody striking out on their own to do something, you know, setting their sights on something that they really want to achieve for themselves. And there might be something about you really going after this on your own that's important at this time. And the reason why I say that is because there's something you're needing to prove to yourself here. I feel like I can do this on my own. I can really make this happen for myself. That brings about a celebratory moment for you, like an arrival point for you. This is an alignment coming in for you, and it really feels like it's just about you with the Four of Wands. But I also feel like there's no harm in making peace with this person, in hearing this person out. And I do feel like you want to be at peace with this person. You don't want to be at odds with this person. I just think you shouldn't let this person ride on your coattails or get you kind of roped into some arrangement that's actually going to almost act in a way where it's coming through as like block your blessings or sort of, how can I put this? Make you take a back seat when you're the one who's actually taking the lead. You know what I mean? Like, this is your idea. This is your inspiration. This is something you feel compelled to do. And somebody wants to be involved in it. And I do feel like you worked with this person before and it didn't turn out well. And maybe you're better off, you know, just being friends. Maybe not working together, you know, on some kind of project. Maybe not mutually investing in this aspiration you have. This looks like it's in relation to your work, you know, some endeavor that you want to strike out on your own, a brand new beginning, something that inspires you, that you're really focused on. And I think this is about you building it for yourself. You may even be considering like breaking away from a certain line of work you've been doing to do something brand new, do it on your own. You got a whole new vision here. And you want it to be just about you. You don't want anybody else involved in it. And I think that's really important here, okay? I think it's really important for you. Okay, let me just do a cut of the deck here and see what we got, Leo. Eight of Pentacles. It's absolutely about your work. And I feel like you have the ability to do this on your own. It says here, makes fools wise. Isn't that wild? Coming in with the Fool. You can do this on your own. You have the ability to create whatever you want here. You don't need somebody else to help you. You don't need to get into any kind of contractual agreement. To me, this really feels like you taking a strong action to set this in motion where you're going to reach a culmination point where you really hit the mark in Sagittarius season with this. And it's all about you. It's about proving something to yourself here. So don't doubt your own gut's instinct with this. You don't need anybody else to help you advance this. And I feel like if you pull somebody else into the mainframe with this, you're going to get pushed to the back. And it ain't right because this is your inspiration. All right? And we got the Knight of Cups here. Perception and revelation, discovers hidden treasure and reveals secrets of nature. You see? You got your own secret sauce here. There could be somebody named Ariel involved in this situation, but I think of Ariel and it also makes me think of the Little Mermaid, who had this dream, who had this desire to experience a different kind of life, to experience life on land, right? But in order to get that, right, there was like this compromising arrangement. Like Ariel was willing to give away her voice, her own expression to Ursula. So see, there is this energy here that wants to steal away this moment from you and cast you in the shadow and take away something from you that is so essential. And they may not mean to, right? On the surface of things, they may not mean to. But you know, once things get set in motion and a certain amount of success is achieved, people can get greedy. It can wake up their lower natures. I just feel like it's not in your best interest. I think you need to go your own way with this. And I think, yeah, you know, enjoy the connection, enjoy the friendship, but I don't think this is something you should partner on. You're going to have more success really preserving your own vision here. And I feel like if you pull somebody in on this, it's going to be compromised, okay? It's going to block your success. This is so important. You already have the correct perception in this situation, right? So believe in yourself and you're going to hit that mark right in the bull's eye, Leo, and you can do it. And you deserve to have that moment, okay? You do. You deserve to have that moment to, you know, be in the spotlight and feel really good about what you accomplished and to know, I did that. I did that. I made a name for myself, all right? I didn't need anybody to do it. I didn't need to compromise my vision. It's about me. So let yourself have that, all right? I think you will be really happy with the end result if you do, all right? It looks like at the very least here, there is the opportunity to get back on friendly terms with somebody. But, you know, as far as this offer to work on this together, thanks, but no thanks, all right? Looks like it really is in your best interest. All right. Looks pretty good. I mean, there's some challenges. It's challenging territory. Don't worry, fixed signs. I have a feeling you're not the only ones who are going to be going through this. I think all of us are collectively moving through these energies together. But it looks like if you apply yourself correctly, you can pull off something quite unexpected that will have you feeling pretty good about the way you navigated this tricky territory. So, Godspeed.